Hello there, my name is Angel and I'm not a eunuch. I apologize in advance for this. Alright, about the fun fact.
Fun facts.
Well, turns out there are several hypotheses about where showing the middle finger comes from. It's funny, there are several hypotheses about it, but my favorite is, in old times, queens, ladies, maids, they were guarded by eunuchs. Eunuchs were these guys, I mean, if you have watched Game of Thrones, you know what I'm talking about. They used to take care of queens, ladies, and maids, and as their husbands, their spouses were worried about how much time they spent together, how close they could be, how intimate they could get. They were castrated, all right? But how could you tell a eunuch was a eunuch? Were they around checking their pants? Let's see. Oh yeah, approved, you get the job. No, it wasn't like that. Eunuchs were chopped off their middle fingers, and people made fun of them, mainly people from the royalty. They made fun of eunuchs by showing them their middle fingers. Yes, like, hello there, I'm not a eunuch. This is what showing the middle finger is about. And it's really funny, because when people show you their middle finger, they're telling you they're not eunuchs. Too much information.
Today's idiom.
Alright, for today's idiom, we have when it comes to. This means with regard to. Alright, for example, when it comes to math, I really suck at it. I'm pathetic when it comes to math. But when it comes to languages, I'm pretty good at it, I love it, and I practice all the time. So keep this in mind for the quiz as well.
Third person singular rules.
In Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, French. In order to conjugate a verb in any of those languages, you're supposed to change the base form of the verb depending on the subject, the type of tense, and conjugation. It's really difficult to memorize every verb, to memorize every conjugation for every subject, every person, but in English this is quite easier, particularly when it comes to present simple tense, which I consider it's the most difficult type of tense to learn in English. So you can imagine what you can expect from the rest, because if this is the hardest, what could be the easiest? Well, so the third person singular consists in adding s. But before we start, you might be wondering, so you're going to explain something and there's no board? Well, there will be. Here it is. Here we go with the first rule, which consists in only adding s. Yes, just s. That's it. As easy as it sounds, it works like this. For example, the verb to work, trabajar in Spanish. I work, you work, he works. If you don't do this, it's like in Spanish, if you don't conjugate properly any verb. For example, trabajar, yo trabajo, tú trabajas, él trabajamos. That's not okay, right? Well, it sounds that odd if we don't pronounce or if we don't add the s at the end of the verb when we conjugate in third person singular. So that's the first rule. Keep that in mind. Rule number 2. When it comes to x, z, s, o, ch, or sh, we're supposed to add es, and the pronunciation would be s at the end of the verb. For example, I watch, you watch, she watches. The verb to fix, I fix my car, you fix your car, she fixes her car. Yeah, believe it. You might be thinking, wow, this is a lot to process. It's gonna be really difficult for me to remember all of those consonants and all of those letters, let's say. So in order to remember this, I suggest you to apply an association method of study, which consists in just associating things to make it easier to remember them. For example, in order to remember X, Z, think about the end of the alphabet, which is X, Y, Z. But you just have to take out Y and keep X like Professor Xavier, Z like Zorro, and in order to remember SO, just put them together like one word. So, and then you have SH like Shakira and CH like Chilean. So think about it, how funny it would be to remember this. So keep this in mind. Professor Xavier, Zorro, so Shakira, Chilean. Keep this in mind in order to apply this second rule. Okay, here we go with rule number 3. This consists in replacing Y for IES. Though this rule is merely for spelling, because when it comes to pronunciation there's no much difference. It sounds pretty much like applying the first rule, adding just S. For example, the verb to study. I study, you study, he studies. We're supposed to replace Y for IES, unless there are exceptions. Here comes the exception of this video. Unless Y follows a vowel. Alright? For example, the verb to play. I play football, you play football, she plays football, she does play football, by the way. And she can play really, really well. Remember this, unless there's a vowel before Y, we're supposed to replace Y for IES. Otherwise, we just have to add the S, and that's it. Just applying the first rule. Well, keep this in mind for the quiz that's coming right now.
Quiz time! You will have 3 seconds to conjugate the following verbs in third person singular. Here we go. Conjugate to work. My laptop works pretty good. Conjugate the verb to figure. Superman is Clark Kent. It figures. Conjugate the verb to brainwash. Marx's book brainwashes people. Conjugate the verb to cry. I hate when my baby cries. Conjugate the verb to buy. When she has my credit card, she buys unnecessary things. For interrogative and negative sentences, you need the auxiliary does. As long as you have does, the verb goes in base form. S is not necessary at the end of the verb. For example, she works, and then the interrogative sentence would be, does she work? And the negative sentence would be, she doesn't work. In this second part, you have to choose which option is correct. Superman flies pretty fast. Which of the following sentences is correct? Does Superman flies pretty fast? Do Superman fly pretty fast? Does Superman to fly pretty fast? Does Superman fly pretty fast? My crazy neighbor dances dubstep. Which of the following sentences is correct? My crazy neighbor don't dance dubstep. My crazy neighbor doesn't dance dubstep. My crazy neighbor doesn't dances dubstep. My crazy neighbor not dances dubstep. I'm brave except for when it comes to cockroaches means I'm brave but cockroaches are not coward insects. Cockroaches often visit my home. Except for me, cockroaches are brave. Cockroaches are the only thing that scares me. Write your doubts and suggestions for more videos in the comments. Well, that's it. Good job, guys.
Alright guys, I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned a lot watching this video. Please subscribe and hit that bell down below in order to support me. If you could share, I'd appreciate it a lot as well. By the way, there are podcasts for free on Spotify. Listen to them, you will find them really useful and you'll learn a lot from them. You can find me there as Angelidioms as well. Well guys, that's it. See you in our next video. Take care. Bye bye.